Welcome to the Leadership Unveiled, a podcast series that explores the minds of trailblazers and game changers shaking up the business world. This podcast is brought to you by HR Association of India. I'm your host, Neha Jagnani, and today we are in for something special. Our guest today is a standout in finance and a true innovator in her industry. Welcoming Meenakshi Dagar. Meenakshi is a CFO for Lenovo India, leading the India finance team for Lenovo's PC and smart devices business. With 17 years of experience across multiple domains, including 6 years at Lenovo, she manages financial P&L and drives the digital transformation journey for Lenovo's finance function in India. Previously, she worked with Tech Mahindra and Dell in various finance roles and capacities. Her experience include India commercial and consumer P&L management, go-to-market transformation, financial planning and analysis, services and controlling, and multiple audit roles. She is a chartered accountant by qualification. Meenakshi, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hey, hi Neha, I'm doing good. Thank you for the intro and such nice words. Doing good. Happy Friday. It's a good, beautiful Friday today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure having you. So to kick things off, I'll start off with my Q&A session, Meenakshi. So my first question is, could you walk us through your journey or your path to becoming a CFO and what initially drew you to the world of finance?
Sure. Thanks, Neha, for asking that. 20 years back, Meenakshi, when I was there, someone fresher college pass out, I did have two interests back in my study days in my career, and those were finance and fashion. And I think back in those days, obviously, fashion was not so much supported, by the family as a career choice making. So that led me to finance. I had a huge interest in mathematics. In fact, I'm one of the medalists from the National Mathematics Olympiad back in those years. And that's how I entered. I did my CA and, I entered in the corporate world. And honestly, when I entered, I didn't have per se CFO, as a target in my mind. Maybe, back in those days, I didn't even know the industry enough or the, finance choice making so enough.
Right.
But I think right from my first day till now, what I did attempt to do that every role I do try to, leave an impact that you're being remembered for doing that role. And second, every next career move I make, I did attempt to have that more challenging than the previous one. And eventually in the process, which means, it's kind of learning curve that you have done something and what next and what next. And obviously you'll have to put out yourself, to do those challenging roles, to take those extra assignments and to tell organization that you're ready for that. So yeah, I think the journey kept on going from one organization to another, one role to another, and then eventually that's how in the process CFO happened. Because when I was assessing, I did realize that it could be challenging enough role for me to really try out something different. And here I am. Yeah, it was not so well planned, but yeah, it did happen in the process of learning.
Wonderful. That was truly intriguing, Meenakshi. So my next question for you is, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as a CEO or CFO, and how did you manage to navigate through them?
Sure. And honestly, when I was signing up for the role, I didn't know it's going to be turning so tough. But yeah, I think there are plenty, but maybe I'll talk some of the top ones which are there, Neha, in my mind. I think to begin with, the first one could be the geopolitical scenario, for our industry. There are a lot of external, factors, external influence, which will play in your, entire P&L management and your organizational, challenges. As an industry, we have gone through, quite a change. We did have COVID, which was obviously an external factor. None of the industry or the organizations were internally planned for that. We did see one of the highest spike into our TAM, the addressable market in India and globally. And then we did see a saturation, and then all of us really, giving a run for money in terms of how do you keep your P&L still profitable growth. And the things haven't changed. change, right? And those factors do continue. There's so much focus on the manufacturing coming in. So how do you really align all these, external influence with your internal organization priorities? How do you influence those change so that you make your overall organization more, future oriented, more self-sustained and focused on some of these, eventually marry the two perspective, right? That there will always be internal and there will be always be external influence. I think the whole geopolitical scenario is making it a little more difficult, but how do you keep things going and still align the best, keeping everybody's interest in mind? This has been, and this continues to be a challenging task for our industry, and I'm sure it might be for many other industries as well.
Sure.
The second one to talk about, and I think this is not just for me, Meenakshi, as a CFO. I'm sure many other CFOs are also going through this change, which is the entire transformation, the digital transformation. For the finance world, we do see, so many new tools, so many ERPs which are coming, and those are supposed to be, making your life a lot more easier. But as you do those changes, how do you prioritize? How do you do those changes to still, address some of the topics which will be very high priority in CFO's mind, like the risk management, having a resilience in your entire financial modeling and many other lenses. And when you do that change, how do you get the stakeholder buying in, right? There's so much dependency which happens of the organization on the finance world. But when you have that change accepted, by your own team, by your, stakeholders, and not let the existing ecosystem impacted, because it's not that your day-to-day expectations of the job will go away or your KPIs will go away. So you'll have to take care of both. You'll have to continue running and doing what you're supposed to do on the job, but at the same time, make organization ready with this transformation journey for the future times to come. And I think as an industry, and especially as a finance profession, I think this is going to be there. This is not going to go away. I think the changes what we are seeing in the recent times are a lot more than what we had seen in the past. And I think over the next decade or so, this will continue to be a challenge. But at the same time, one of the most important innovation, which I think any of the CFOs would want to drive. The last one, I think, for something like us, right, ITS industry, there is so much optimization which has happened on the cost in the traditional way to run the P&L. And now how do you still keep optimizing your cost, prioritizing your ROI, and still continue your P&L, on the upward trend? In the process, I think it's very difficult to keep every stakeholder happy. And as a CFO, I think if you can align your all the decisions to the organization vision, and make your best efforts to have a collaborative approach and align your stakeholders or influence them to do the right thing and influence them towards one common objective. I think that is turning tougher and tougher. But I think so long you try to do with the most optimal decision making and still keep the larger vision of the organization in mind, you will be able to do a decent job. But yeah, it could be at times difficult to have everybody, as a smiling face with all your decisions.
Absolutely, Meenakshi. So to summarize, the first point, the highlights for me basically was that to align firstly the internal and the external. Second was your digital transformation, which is the need of the hour. Third, you
Right.
spoke about the resilience part. And last but not least, the whole P&L aspect and, related to that. So thank you so much. That was truly insightful. So my next question, Meenakshi, for you is how do you approach strategic decision making, and what are the factors that you sort of consider critical in driving a company's financial direction?
Sure. And I think when I do that personally, I think in every strategic call as a CFO, we always have the pressure of immediate quarter, that what you need to deliver. But what I try to do is that always keep that long-term 2 to 3 years goal also in mind, because it's very easy for one to say that, oh, I can't invest in today because I will have a pressure of profitable, profit expectations in this quarter. But sometimes those could be the right calls. So if you are able to have that 360-degree lens in all your strategic decisions, that you are not just surviving for today. You'll have to really have a self-sustained organization, even if you move out of the role and leave a legacy. If you can keep that vision in your mind, and all your ROI, all your investment decisions are short-term to long-term ROI. Sometimes you'll have to do that in the best interest of the organization, that take care what is expected in the recent time. But if your decisions are aligned, that it will have ROI in the long term, and you will have to have that view from the business analytics and business insight point of view, that is something which is needed to be baked into your decision. I think that is very important, and that's what I try to have in most of my decisions, that not just the immediate quarter, but also I think having a forward looking thinking and investing in the future is very important.
So a large part of it basically contribute to how future ready we are when we are making decisions. Great. So my next question is, in what ways you think technology is, shaping the role of a CFO, and what innovations you see are essential in modern finance teams?
Sure, thanks, Nia. And this is the most interesting question. So I think a lot, my immediate response to it would be to my earlier, one of the toughest challenge I was talking, digital transformation. Tech will play a very important role in the modern finance, and not just in the finance world. I think in many other areas like marketing and so forth. If today's CFO, invest their time in terms of, making Excels and PPTs, it may not be the most optimal utilization of their time, and they're expected to solve a lot more, complex business situations and participate, with the business. So if you can adopt the tech in a way that you get the right and the timely insights for you to keep your business stakeholders updated and help you in many of the financial and the business oriented decisions, I think that's the most optimal. Maybe to talk for industry like us, to have, and I think for many other industries, to have the customer insights, the market trend insights, and pricing intelligence, right? Because we have now so much online and the retail platform, which are turning as a mix of our business. I think having those insights and using the AI and rest of the tech, predictive data analytics and so forth around it will be very important. Yeah, sometimes you'll have to make those choices, that do I want a predictive data analytics for a risk assessment first, or for a pricing intelligence first? So that does become important. But I think the uses in many of the finance area of the tech is very, very important. We will have to phase out the uses that, among my list of priorities, if there are 10 things, which are the top 2-3 for us. So maybe personally for me, it could be more business finance oriented first, that how do I get the more external trends, customer insights, pricing insights, and then shift the gear to again build that risk, resilience in the organization, and bring a lot more predictive analytics. But yeah, it is playing a role, and it is going to play a very important role in the modern finance.
Oh, fantastic. So this brings us to the last question in this segment, Meenakshi, which is, what advice would you have for young professionals who aspire to build a career in finance and possibly become a CFO one day?
Sure. And in fact, I might repeat, I was addressing, some of the new hires in my team, and I was seeing, quite young, fresh faces there. And these are very repetitive, which I keep giving whenever I address the, newcomers in my company. The first one, I think, and we do see a lot, right? And it's not that we entered 20 years back and we are talking some of those stereotype thinking, but I still feel there is no shortcut to hard work in life. In any area you work, you could be a smart worker, but eventually you'll have to make the best blend of the two. Which means you will have to put your best efforts in, anything and everything you do. That's very, very important. And in the process, if you find shortcuts, always use that. But at the same time, you'll have to give your best to put your best efforts into everything. The second one, where I think many of us sometimes doubt ourselves, focus on your strengths. Wherever and whatever you will do and wherever you will reach in the career, personally, professionally, I think your strengths will take you there, and in the process you'll get many managers, peer teams who will give you the feedback. And I'm not saying even for a second that you need to discount the feedback. You'll have to be objective, take those feedbacks, work on those, but it's your strength, which will take you where you want to reach, while you keep taking the feedback and you keep working on the feedback. So don't get digressed that, oh, there are so many feedbacks. Should I be working on that, or should I carry what I am, right? You don't change. You have a personality, carry your strengths and keep working, on the opportunities which comes your way.
Right.
And the third one, I think, which is my, answer to the first question, that always focus on learning. Always focus on what more and more, you can add to yourself, what change you can bring,
Mhm.
how differently the same role you can do versus your predecessor. Don't get carried away by the money and title. I think I do strongly believe those are very short term and short sighted. If you keep learning, you keep growing, you keep challenging yourself, you keep giving your best, and you experience that journey, right? In anything and everything we do, there's always an experience attached to that, and how do you use that experience into your next role? If you keep learning and you keep growing yourself, rest all will follow. I mean, if you expect to be a CFO, that will come your way, provided you keep growing yourself and professionally you are maturing your learning by each passing day. Everything else will come in place. So I think these are the three things which, in general, I believe are part of my journey, and I do end up advising all the newcomers. Some may agree, some may not, but yeah, I do feel these are very strong principles of life.
Absolutely. So to give your best, backing your strength, and lastly, to have a learning mindset so that you're able to evolve and be where you want to be. So thank you so much, Meenakshi. This was truly insightful, and sharing your perspectives here. So now we are going to switch gears and dive deep into this segment called Rapid Fire Round. As
Sure.
the segment suggests, rapid. So I'm going to ask you some questions and I seek some rapid answers, if I may. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Interesting.
sure. So my first question is, if you could hop on a plane right now, where would you go?
Ladakh.
Oh, wonderful. One word that sums up your leadership style.
Stay happy.
Okay. What's the best advice that you have ever received?
I think similar. Don't focus or worry too much about things which you need to get better.
Sure.
Many of my mentors did give me that.
Okay. Are you more of a morning person or a night owl?
Night out.
Okay.
Yeah, I
What's
used to
the...
study only nights.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. What's a personal mantra that guides you or you live by?
Make a better version of yourself by every next morning.
Okay. Okay. So what's the most rewarding part of working in finance?
If you enjoy the number, which I do, I think you'll always be on. You'll always be looking for how this number change and how it becomes different in next 1 hour or in next one day or a week or a month. If you have the love for numbers, I think that's what will keep you going.
Sure. And how do you find balance between work and life?
I think very important. It has to be done consciously. So I do ensure that my health routine is never compromised while I give, even the stretch hours at work.
Sure. Sure. What's one bucket list goal that you're eager to achieve soon?
I think travel more. I still have a lot to see in the world, and obviously there's only this much holiday I can take. If I can take more, I will definitely would want to travel more.
Sure. So my last question is your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
I think playing badminton, which is what I do in my day-to-day routine, that sports and competitiveness in the game, I think it just refreshed me completely.
Oh, fantastic. So this brings us to the end of it. The rapid fire was quick and sharp. Thank you so much for your inputs. And thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and insights that you have shared today, Meenakshi. I'm sure our listeners, especially from the finance background, are going to greatly benefit from the experiences and perspectives that you brought into this session today. So thank you so much.
Sure, thank you, Neha. Likewise, I think I appreciate you and the HRAI team pulling the time and doing this conversation with me means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just have a quick note to our listeners, Meenakshi. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, do not forget to subscribe and leave a review. Until we meet next time, stay inspired and keep innovating. Thank you.